So this question looks like it's going to be a translate word problem question because of the length of it. Translate word problem questions are typically 4 or more lines long. So let's get started. I'm going to read and then see what we can translate from what we have read. So the question starts off with, in air, the speed of sound, s, in meters per second, is a linear function of the air temperature, T, in degrees Celsius, and is given by this equation, which I always recommend you write down equations that are provided. So S of T is equal to 0.6 T plus 331.4. So there's our linear function, right? And again, anytime I see that wording on this test, I always think of y equals mx plus b. I suggest you do the same. And if we think of it this way, then I can see that my S of t is like a y value. My 0.6 is like my slope or my m value. Obviously, t is x. And then my b or my y-intercept is the b value. So it goes on to say, which of the following statements is the best interpretation of the number 331.4 in this context? Well, we've already related 331.4 to b, or the y-intercept. Don't forget that our y-intercept is found when x, right? So when x is equal to 0. So in this case, it'd be when t is equal to 0. Because T represents air temperature, that means the actual air temperature would be 0 degrees Celsius, right? So I just put 0 degrees Celsius. So at 0 degrees Celsius, the speed, right, because S stands for speed, we expect the speed to be 331. So S equals 331.4 when T equals 0 degrees Celsius. So there's our interpretation right there. So choice A says the speed of sound in meters per second at 0 degrees Celsius. Well, that's pretty much exactly what I just described. So I believe A is the best answer. But let's read the rest just to make sure. Choice B, the speed of sound in meters per second at 0.6 degrees Celsius. No, it should be 0. Choice C, the increase in the speed of sound in meters per second that corresponds to an increase of 1 degree Celsius. That sounds much more like the slope, right? So not the y-intercept. And then lastly, choice D, the increase in the speed of sound in meters per second that corresponds to an increase of 0.6 degrees Celsius. So that's also incorrect. So hopefully you see that A is the best answer here. And more importantly, you see how I made that connection pretty early on through translation by understanding the use of linear function on this test, right? Meaning that it's going to somehow relate to y equals mx plus b, and then actually writing this equation down, right? Always writing equations down when you get them. And you can even see that by habit, right, I made sure to write both of these things kind of stacked on top of each other, right? Y equals mx plus b, and S of t equals 0.6 t plus 331.4. Right, so visually that helps me to just see where everything matches up. So when the question points out the 31.4, I'm already in the right frame of mind to think about what it actually means.